I know for a fact that this is going to annoy Donald Trump beyond belief. Last night, on the opening night of his European tour in Manchester, England, Bruce Springsteen, the boss, destroyed Donald Trump, called him out, went off on the Trump administration, calling them corrupt, calling them incompetent, and calling them treasonous. Very fair descriptions of the current administration. And the reaction that he got from the crowd in a foreign country tells you everything you need to know about how the world thinks about Donald Trump. So let's just take a look at this first clip from his concert. I have a couple I want to show you, and I think he puts it really well. This is the very beginning of the concert. Have a look.
The mighty A Street Band is here tonight to call upon the righteous power of art, of music, of rock and roll in dangerous times. In my home, the America I love, the America I've written about, that has been a beacon of hope and liberty for 250 years, is currently in the hands of a corrupt, incompetent, and treasonous administration. Tonight, we ask all who believe in democracy and the best of our American experience to rise with us, raise your voices against authoritarianism, and let freedom reign. This is land of hope and dreams.
I love that from Bruce Springsteen. Of course, he's been a very vocal anti-Trump guy in the past. He had a podcast with President Obama, which I thought was fantastic. They talked about a wide range of issues. But I love this. I love when people like Bruce Springsteen, people who are these huge names in their given field, use their voices, use their platforms to slam the people in power who are doing bad things. In this case, of course, it is Donald Trump. And as I mentioned, he has this label of corrupt, of treasonous, of incompetent. And I think that's perfectly in line with a lot of the stories we've seen recently, just like this one that kind of came out almost the same day that Bruce Springsteen was saying this, so it's coincidental. But a tiny company with China ties has announced a big purchase of Trump's cryptocurrency. So a company with virtually no revenue last year and has ties to a foreign country is buying hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Trump's coin, enriching himself and his family. I mean, I don't know how much more blatant it has to get for these Trump supporters to just wake up and say, you know what, actually, this guy is using the presidency to enrich himself and his buddies. A struggling technology company that has ties to China and relies on TikTok made an unusual announcement this week. It had secured funding to buy as much as $300 million of Trump coin, the so-called meme coin marketed by Donald Trump. GD Culture Group, a publicly traded firm with a Chinese subsidiary, has only 8 employees, its public filings show, and recorded zero revenue last year from an e-commerce business that operates on TikTok, of course, the Chinese-owned video sharing app. But on Monday, the group became the latest business with foreign ties to Donald Trump's crypto venture, which channels profits directly to the Trump family and has generated conflicts of interest that have alarmed ethics experts. Meme coins like Trump are a type of cryptocurrency based on an online joke or celebrity, yada, yada. In his statement, the GD Culture Group, which is traded on the NASDAQ, said it would spend $300 million on a stockpile of Bitcoin and Trump, using proceeds from a stock sale to an unnamed entity in the British Virgin Islands, a popular tax haven. It confirmed that investment plan in a securities filing late Tuesday. So just to be clear, again, I want to reiterate the facts. No revenue, ties to China, spending hundreds of millions of dollars to buy Donald Trump's cryptocurrency, enrich himself and his family. It really just doesn't get more corrupt than that. And by the way, the Trump administration has used the White House to market this coin. It's not just some private venture, as a lot of the MAGA people like to claim. Trump literally ran a contest surrounding the cryptocurrency, saying the top 200 owners of the coin get to come to the White House and have dinner with me. They're selling access, and it seems like they're selling access to entities that have connections to countries that don't like us very much. I mean, I really want to reiterate this point. How much more blatant does it have to get? If Joe Biden or Barack Obama did anything similar to this, Republicans would have already been filing articles of impeachment. They would have already filed them in the House, taking a vote tomorrow. But since it's Donald Trump, it's perfectly fine. He can take the jet from Qatar. He can build, Trump towers abroad with countries he's doing business with as president. No problem, no questions asked. I want to show you another clip from this Bruce Springsteen concert, which I thought was incredibly powerful. And he's talking about the effect of Trump, Elon, and their attack on the fundamental rights of so many Americans. Just have a look.
In America, the richest men are taking satisfaction in abandoning the world's poorest children to sickness and death. This is happening now. In my country, they're taking sadistic pleasure in the pain that they inflict on loyal American workers. They're rolling back historic civil rights legislation that led to a more just and plural society. They're abandoning our great allies and siding with dictators against those struggling for their freedom. They're defunding American universities that won't bow down to their ideological demands. They're removing residents off American streets and without due process of law are deporting them to foreign detention centers and prisons. This is all happening now.
Yeah, I mean, once again, you've seen in these clips the applause from the audience like acknowledging what Bruce is saying, agreeing with what Bruce is saying. And this is not a group of liberals in this concert venue. A bunch of Democrats didn't fly over to Manchester just to fill the stadium, as I'm sure Republicans would claim. These are average, everyday people in England who obviously are not as invested in American politics as we all are, and they are all anti-Trump. They're all opposing this guy. The entire stadium was listening to what Bruce had to say, applauding when he slammed Donald Trump. And he makes a great point here. I want to go back to the very first thing he said, which is the richest men in America are taking pleasure in the poorest and the least well-off in not only the United States, but the world suffering. And that brings me to a quote that Bill Gates had recently about Donald Trump. This is once again another example of somebody using their money, using their platform, using their voice to be able to say, hey, Trump and Elon Musk are not doing us any favors. They're not helping anybody. And I thought this quote from Bill Gates kind of ties perfectly into what Bruce Springsteen was saying. Gates said, quote, "The picture of the world's richest man killing the world's poorest children is not a pretty one. I'd love for him, Elon, to go in and meet the children that now have been infected with HIV because he cut that money." It's a powerful statement, and they're both absolutely right. What Trump and Elon have done with medical funding, what they're doing with the removal of due process, defunding universities that also study a lot of these diseases in question, a lot of these viruses that are, killing people around the world. It is evil. It's wrong. And just the side-by-side picture, the split screen of the richest man in the world going around ensuring that the poorest in the world suffer more is an evil one. It almost seems right out of a villain movie where the opposition is doing things like this. It seems like Elon Musk and Donald Trump and the administration perfectly fit that role. It's just gross what we're seeing. And that's why I'm so thankful for people like Bruce Springsteen who kind of are not afraid to go up on a stage when so many are cowering and say what they think and call out the injustice and stand up for what's right. I'm sure that we can all, if you listen very closely, we can hear Donald Trump with his little hands typing on his phone about how Bruce Springsteen is anti-America and that he doesn't like the country and things of that nature. But how much more American does it get? First of all, Bruce Springsteen, the boss, is pure as American as you can possibly be. But he's talking about the things that are right, the things that are just. He's standing up for democracy. And I can't think of anything more American. So listen, I just wanted to show you these clips of Bruce Springsteen going off on Donald Trump, even abroad. And I think it was fantastic. I'll leave the video there. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. Make sure to subscribe down below. It goes an incredibly long way. I greatly appreciate it. Also, drop a like on the video, comment. Let me know what you think about all this. And as I always say, I greatly appreciate you, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.